we'll come to some of the responses
Yes.
made by politicians so far, because some people have said it is not the job of the military to tell us to reveal this kind of...
No, because they are not supposed to say it. They're supposed to act. When you declassify information, which means you have disarmed yourself, what you ought to do is the way you generate intelligence is to make it operational. And what is operational? When questions are being asked, then you are at the liberty to explain what happened with facts around you. They have generated messages, intelligence of what is going on. This is for their own consumption as security agencies. And of course, they must act promptly to preempt such plans and such behavior. By announcing it before acting, perhaps they are waiting it down. Now, we don't want to hear rhetorics. What everybody is looking for, like he has mentioned, Kaduna-Abuja road is the most highly policed road in Nigeria today. The IG have assured Nigerians that that road is free. As of last week, people were killed. A government official was arrested. And going by rumors, 60 million was released.
Was arrested,
to get him
was
free.
kidnapped.
Was kidnapped.
Let me quickly come to you. Why do you think that the military is releasing this statement? What effect does it serve? I mean, he is saying make it operational. Why do you have to release this before you have arrested those behind it? Shouldn't you have arrested the people behind this and then tell us why, perhaps later?
I think the military has its own blame to take. The whole situation is the military, the other security agencies need to do more because there is no coordination in their operations. Sometimes you will hear Air Force bombing a place and then, confirming that they have hit a target. I don't think that is the proper way because the Air Force can only give fire support to ground forces. But I have never heard where there is coordination between the ground forces and the Air Force. So who goes to confirm that they have neutralized those targets? That is a great concern. So I think the Army and the Air Force need to work together if we should achieve results.
While that is happening, why do you think the military is releasing a statement like this? Of what purpose is it supposed to serve?
Honestly, it baffles me.
And you're a former military officer?
Yes, but I was a former military officer, but if such a thing is there, like the gentleman said, they should have said it. They should expose those people who are concerned.
Let's quickly go to Lagos now, take questions from my colleagues.
Well, Major Bantam, when you say that, they're not working together, they need proper coordination. But when they have their security meetings, I mean, the NSA also involved in this, isn't that something that they should have picked up and addressed such that it's not glaring, as you say, that there isn't that coordination amongst them?
Exactly. The National Security Advisor is supposed to chair all security meetings involving all other security agencies. In the past, we used to have what is called JIB, chaired by the National Security Advisor, and this includes the service chief, service intelligence officers, and DGNIA, DGSSS, and other relevant security agencies in attendance. I don't think this one is being taken care of nowadays, because if Air Force will go and operate independently without confirmation of the ground forces that such a place has been neutralized, I don't see any success in such an operation.
But let me get Alhaji Gabam to respond. While you are making your opening comments, you did say that some farmers and herders who had lost all they had sold that little left and bought arms and gotten into this. I'm just wondering, how did you come about that information?
It's in public domain. It's not a classified issue at all. If you are a student of, following crises that has happened over the time in the north as a result of the farmers and herdsmen crisis, even last week in Plateau State, you'll understand clearly why such things are happening. When you go and take away the cows of a Fulani man, almost 50, 100, and you kill all of them, you left him with nothing. He hasn't been trained to do any other thing else apart from rearing his cows. It's his kind of inheritance as a Fulani man. And you have a farmer whose source of livelihood is to farm his farm. And because of this breach of security, lawlessness, he can go to his farm. A Fulani man has no farm to farm. And of course, you have an idle mind. And naturally, in a society loose, unguided, people are bound to source for other source of livelihood. You have a Fulani man who is naturally very brave. Number two, who know the geography of Nigeria, going through with his legs. He knows virtually everywhere, and have access of information that if he block a road and perhaps harass 1 or 2 people, he will have access to maybe 100,000 or thereabout, compared to his past life that he have never, maybe in 1 year, gotten up to 20,000 naira. You have naturally recruited him into crime and criminalities. And you have a group of people that have brought them into drugs. Majority of them that have been arrested are drug addicts.
Well, Elijah, let me follow up with what I did ask initially, because some of those who had been kidnapped, while narrating their deal to us, they say that those who they saw there, some of them were servicemen, proficient in the use of those arms. So if they were just herders and farmers who bought some of these arms, how do we explain then? How do they become, proficient in the use of those arms?
Well, I've given you the genesis that led to some of this crisis. If you look at just the way your station have shown some of the young people that were arrested, and some of them ranging from 15 years to 30. That's the preponderance of the arrests we are having right now. And most of them are on drugs. You can visit most of the police stations, or you can check for the police report and find out what I'm talking about. Now, when you have a young man who have lost all his parents, nobody to take care of him, he has nothing to resort to. When you have a father who goes to farm and conduct his farming, have lost that farm, cannot go to farm, and you have a children to take care of, can't take them to school, what do you expect? Now, above all, this thing has been happening for a very long time. There's no policy of government that have to do with rehabilitation or training them into another skill. Government is aware, is in the doorstep of every government official, that there's no policy, consistent policy of rehabilitating people that have lost everything, to create that hope in their mind. These people have nothing to lose. We have everything to lose. They have nothing to lose. So they can do anything to survive. And because there is no coherent system, there is no effective policy, you have a country of 210 million being policed by less than 500,000 policemen. And we are a serious nation. And we want to take care of our security issues and challenges. It's never done anywhere in the world. This is a very peculiar situation. Sometimes I ask myself, what is it that as the leaders, as the stakeholders in this country, that we cannot sit down once and for all, and face squarely these realities and deal with them squarely? You have a government in place, executive being elected. You have the legislators in place that have certain responsibility of performing laws and also oversight functions. You have also the judiciary in place. Of recent, that is mind-striking, mind-boggling, of even the people who specialize in putting drugs in people's bags, that were arrested and released. You can imagine the tormenting, the kind of, you know, internal pains you go through as an individual. Not even, these multiply effects have gone a long way in bringing this nation into disrepute. You can go anywhere around the world and be proud to say you are in Nigeria, and you'll be seen with that dignity, with that decency, that sense of responsibility. You begin to lose it yourself because you have no leadership that is so coherent, so decisive in times of taking out this very, very barbaric way of conducting business and allowing it to continue to spread without any control.
I mean, definitely you are wondering why it is difficult to call. I don't know what precisely you're suggesting, but let me ask Major Bantam, what do you think we should be doing right now? I mean, it would seem that we are all quite concerned, maybe a little more than quite, concerned about the problems facing us right now, especially when it comes to security. It's okay to live in the cities or in the state capitals and feel a little safe, but even then sometimes these things creep into the cities where we live and gets us really concerned, especially when you now have to travel. What should we be doing as a people and perhaps our security agencies? What do they need to be doing so that we can all feel safer?
I think the security agencies must work together with the community to ensure that there is cohesion in whatever activities, and then the neighborhood watch is very, very important.
But some of the communities have already been traumatized. Some of them have already been emptied out. I mean, what about communities that are suffering displacement, for instance? How would you suggest that security agencies work with those kinds of communities?
The communities will have to assist the security agencies also in giving information about their own household, because most of these criminals or the youth are from the same community, and they are the children of those people there. I remember in Borno, for instance, there are some communities who will challenge the security agencies when they come to arrest their children. And those are the children responsible for those things there. So if we cannot coordinate ourselves, if we cannot cooperate among the locals and the security agencies, it is going to be very difficult to fight this type of menace.
Mm. Do you have
Let me tell you
a suggestion on how we should move forward?
Yes. One, as a nation, restructuring is inevitable. A nation that have over 201 million still rely on federal subvention to run states. It's grossly, grossly impossible. We must allow states to develop their own natural mineral resources, to provide basic infrastructure, to provide employment, and the basic needs of the states. And we must allow state police to function. It's inevitable, because there's lack of capacity, there's lack of manpower from the security apparatus to provide security for everybody. It's practically, they have lost control. So which means as a nation, we must be creative. We must prepare to face challenges. If we refuse to face challenge will face us. Just the way challenge is facing the nation now. And we are just running and grumbling, and we have no immediate solution. Simply because we did not develop capacity to contain the large population that we have generated.
Are we undermining the efforts of the security agencies? When you say they have lost control, maybe if you say they appear to be losing control.
No.
Why do you say they have lost control?
When you take the quantum of life that you are losing on a daily basis. You just mentioned Katsina State. Last week, somebody came to my office from Katsina State. He said the kind of crime that is happening in Katsina State is worse than what is happening in Kaduna and even Zamfara State. It's just been underreported. And I'm happy it has come to limelight. And I'm happy a member of the House of Reps was almost crying that for 1 year he has not gone to his village. That is the kind of anarchy that is going on. If we have not lost control, you will not have the number of citizens being killed, being maimed on a daily basis. Now, If the issue is lack of capacity, why don't you develop the capacity? If it is lack of manpower, why don't you employ more people to handle the situation? And then you prioritize, you reprioritize your spending to meet up with the current challenge that is going on.
What does they say if we've lost control? Perhaps we will all not be here having this conversation.
Because you live in a city that is highly policed, highly secured. There are other places people cannot move. There are places you can't move to any community. And that is the truth. What the member have said was the truth, was the bitter truth. There are communities that you cannot go, you will be kidnapped. In Katsina State, people being kidnapped to pay even 5,000 naira. That's how bad it is. And that is the truth about the situation on ground. The securities are doing everything humanly possible based on the numbers available to them, based on the number of equipments available to them. They cannot perform magic. A nation must prepare to defend itself by providing the basic tools for security agencies. Technologies play a critical role in providing the basic needs of the society. Now, you must reprioritize your spending to meet up with the current reality that we are being faced as a nation. Otherwise, it will go beyond what we are seeing now. Of recent, not too long ago, don't forget, Boko Haram has been bombing in Abuja. You are not safe even in Abuja as of that. There was an intervention to reduce the level of the insecurity right now in Abuja. What of other places? Monitor and get fact of what is happening in other places. Now, what they need to do is to strengthen the security apparatus by getting more equipment, by getting more manpower, and reduce some of the unnecessary expenditures they are having to meet up with this basic demand. You have, like I've said, 210 million people being policed by less than 500 police officers. Are we normal?